So Elimination Chamber is in the books, and boy, did some stuff happen. And I'm here to go through my entire predictions for the match card of WrestleMania based solely on the results of the Elimination Chamber and also the results of Raw, because there was a massive title change. So I've got to kind of take that into account as well.
Hello.
And welcome to Ricky on Wrestling. All right, let's kick this off. Night one, match number one. I don't think I changed this. I did change the name of one of the tag teams because I kept getting it wrong. I kept calling Pretty Deadly Pretty Deadlies. It's because there's two of them, but apparently it's just Pretty Deadly. That's my bad. I apologize. But it's DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, and Pretty Deadly for the WWE Tag Team titles in a ladder match. I think it's a good way to get like the energy going on the first night of WrestleMania. Ladder matches are awesome. All the people in this match can work their asses off. You throw ladders into the mix and there's going to be like some insane high spots. Can't wait. It's going to be sick. I don't think this changed from my first video. I'm not going to go back and watch it, but you should go back and watch it. So yeah, great way to kick things off. High energy, big ladder match, good stuff. Night one, match one, that's what it is. Okay, match two on night one. I've got Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley. I can't remember if this is what I had it down as in my first video, but I feel like you need Bayley to add a bit of legitimacy to the women's Intercontinental title. I think you need to do that for the US title as well, but I'll get to that on night number two. But it just feels like I'm glad they did these titles. Like, I think the women need mid-card titles so that the mid-card of the women's division is actually fighting for something. But the booking so far has been, it's been okay. But I feel like adding Bayley to this mix really does add an air of legitimacy to it. Put it on WrestleMania, give it a big high-profile spot. And coming out of WrestleMania, the mid-card women's titles are going to have a lot more legitimacy to them, which I think they really, really need. So Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley. You could throw in Roxanne Perez to make it a triple threat, but right now I just have it as a one-on-one match. All right, match number three, and oh boy, okay, Logan Paul is going to be at WrestleMania. There's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing we can do to change that. And it seems like AJ Styles is going to call him out next week on Raw, so is that the direction we're going? Well, at least that's my prediction here. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. This isn't the worst case scenario. It's not Punk, it's not Cena, it's not anyone in the main event scene. Now, AJ is a genuine main event talent, but he's just come back, so it doesn't really feel like we're taking him away from anything by putting him in a match with Logan Paul. And in the past, AJ Styles has done a good job in matches at WrestleMania against people who aren't wrestlers. I'm talking, of course, about Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon and Logan Paul, to me, kind of give off the same energy as people who participate in wrestling matches but are not true professional wrestlers. And look, we all know Logan Paul gets to rehearse his matches a bunch before they happen. He still hasn't had the chops to call a match in the ring. So I feel like the chance he gets to do this match ahead of time with AJ, practicing every single move down to the second, means they're going to put on a really, really good show, and everyone's going to go in this circle again of, oh, Logan Paul's really, really good at this. Well, you know, put him out there and have him call a match on the fly. When he does that, then we'll maybe talk about him being a good wrestler, but for the time being, this is the Logan Paul cycle. He gets to practice all his matches. They end up being really, really good, and people falsely think that he's actually a really, really good professional wrestler. But when you're in there against AJ, AJ could have a good match against a goddamn broomstick, so it's going to be good regardless. It doesn't take AJ away from anything major. I would have loved if it was him and Finn Balor, but it doesn't seem like the way they're going now, which kind of sucks. It is what it is. It's fine. It's not, at least it's not Punk. All right, match four, night number one, Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight. Mostly this match is there because I had nothing for either of these guys. I kind of thought LA Knight might have gotten brought into the Damian Priest-Drew McIntyre feud just because of the whole thing with Drew having a hissy fit backstage after the Rumble, but they kind of had a chance to do that and they haven't done it, so it doesn't feel like that's the direction they're going. And I got nothing for Shinsuke either. Like, maybe Andrade, I don't know, that might be cool. At this stage, yeah, I got nothing for either of these guys, so just whack them together. They'll have a good match. All right, match number five, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. This is clearly where we are heading for WrestleMania weekend with these two. We've got Timu, New Bloodline versus Cooler, New Bloodline. The problem being is the best parts of the Bloodline are gone, and now what are they even fighting for? Like, the Ula Fowler is not on the table anymore. Like, it's back with Roman. I don't foresee him being dragged into this feud in any way because he's going to be busier way down on the card or way up on the card. He's going to be in the main event of something. And these two fighting over, I guess, whatever the dregs of the Bloodline remain, Yeah, cool. It's fine. I hope this sets up Jacob Fatu for a massive year. He's clearly the standout and one of the biggest stars in WWE right now. People love this dude, and they should because he's awesome. But without Roman being involved, without Jimmy, without Jay, without Sami Zayn, this just kind of feels like it's spinning its wheels until we get past WrestleMania. Solo takes a loss, and Jacob goes on to have, hopefully, a career-making year in 2025. Next match on the card, we have Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's WWE Championship, or the WWE Women's Championship, however you want to say it. So far, feud has been okay, I guess. It's been fine, but I was kind of expecting Charlotte to come out and do something at the Elimination Chamber after Tiffany's match with Trish Stratus, and she didn't. And I'm really hoping that in a couple of days' time, I'm going to be proven wrong, and Charlotte's going to come out and do some absolutely heinous stuff as a heel to Tiffy on SmackDown. But until we see any of that, we're still kind of just waiting for this feud to pick up steam, because like, I'm excited for the match, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a cool match, but right now it's not that inspiring. And I shouldn't be saying this because I was saying stuff like this last week, and then they turned John Cena heel and the whole world has gone topsy-turvy, and up is down and down is up, and nothing makes sense anymore. So they can do anything, and they could do something in the next week or next 2 weeks to put this at the top of my must-see list on WrestleMania night. It's just that right now we don't have any of that, but that's just going to be the match. So hopefully they do something to make me excited about this. All right, my penultimate match on night one is going to be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton came back at the Chamber, had a showdown with Kevin. They're teasing the punt. God, I can't wait to see the punt come back. The place is going to lose its roof if Randy Orton kicks Kevin Owens' head off of his shoulders. This really does seem like the inevitable conclusion to this sort of like feud between like Randy and Seth and then Sammy. Like, I don't have Sammy on this at all. It kind of feels like he's been written off altogether. But if you add some sort of stipulation to this match where it's like no holds barred or no DQ or whatever, then I think Sammy can come back, get a measure of revenge on Kevin by costing him the match. And you can also have him just sitting ringside, just looking at Randy kick Kevin's head clear off his shoulders and just smiling from ear to ear, just like, this is so good. And finally, night one main event. No, it is not Jey Uso. I'm sorry. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk triple threat match. Now, when I originally pitched this, I had Drew McIntyre involved as well. Feels like they're going in a different direction with him. And I had the winner of said match going on to night two to be added as a triple threat match to the main event of night two. I have taken that back. This is just going to be a straight up triple threat match with a twist. I did mention this in my last video that we have never seen a triple threat match or a triple threat last man standing match. Now I feel like this feud will get to a point, and already between Seth and Punk it is, when we get Roman back and we throw him into the mix. There's plenty of content there you can mine to get that feud as hot as it is now, or keep the feud as hot as it is now with all three members involved. And I feel like the stipulation of a last man standing match is A, we've never seen it before, and B, these three hate each other. Like, they really, really don't like each other. So you need to add a stipulation. All triple threat matches are no DQ by necessity, but adding this extra little thing on top of just like, you have to get both of your opponents to the ground for a 10 count for the win. You have to exercise both your demons at once. That's cool. That is a cool little twist that I think elevates it beyond just a regular triple threat match and elevates it beyond, or elevates it to the point of justifying its main event spot on night one. That lasting image of whoever the winner is standing over both bodies of their vanquished foes. I think again, cool. We've never seen it before. That's sick. But also it means you go off the air and you don't need them, I guess, to main event night two. I kind of, in my head, I was like, okay, if this is going to be the main event of night one, what are the stakes? Like, what does this match do for them? They're in the main event of WrestleMania. That's cool. But there doesn't seem to be anything after that. It's just, we are the three biggest stars on the show. We get to main event. Whereas if you do the last man standing stip, them standing over their vanquished foes as we go off air, having made both of them unable to answer a 10 count, that is a really, really cool image to close out night number one. Okay, night two, match number one. This is the match I had last time. I'm going to start us off again with it. It's Jey Uso versus Gunther World Heavyweight Championship match. If you ain't going to go on last, you might as well go on first. And just at this point, the feud hasn't got to the point where I can justify putting it in the main event over anything CM Punk, Roman Reigns, or Seth Rollins are going to be doing on the show. So, sorry, Jay, you are not main event Jey Uso. In this case, you are opening match Jey Uso, but usually that's probably the second biggest match on the card. It's the spot that Seth and Drew filled last year. We had the cash in after, obviously. That added to the whole spectacle of the thing. But I feel like just the atmosphere of Jey Uso beating Gunther in this case would bring it to that level of like, this is the second coolest thing we are going to see tonight. And everyone yeeting and stuff when he wins. Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a thing to experience. So if it ain't closing, it might as well open. All right, night two, match two. This is going to be Rey and Penta versus the New Day. Now, I don't think they're going to get the tag titles onto either of these teams between now and WrestleMania. So, sorry to the War Raiders. You are not going to be on the card. I apologize. I know you have a championship belt around both of your very heavy-laden waists, but I think you're going to end up in that spot where you do a tag match the night after WrestleMania, on the Raw after WrestleMania. That's going to be your Wrestlemania moment. But yeah, I feel like the direction is Rey and the New Day are feuding. You want to do a tag match. Well, who else do we get? Well, we've got all the members of the LWO, but we also got Penta. And Penta needs to do something at WrestleMania. So why not put him in a tag match with Rey Mysterio, the guy he grew up idolizing. Put him against the New Day. They'll have a hell of a match. It'll be sick. All right, match number three, night number two. I have Chelsea Green versus Becky Lynch. Now, I remember last time I did this, it was going to be Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They haven't done anything to kind of like justify Piper turning on Chelsea. Like, they kind of seem as strong as ever. So I don't foresee a either heel or face turn or a breakup of any sort in the next 6 weeks. Don't worry, it could happen. I could be completely wrong. However, I talked about on night one, Bayley versus Lara Valkyria, adding some legitimacy to the women's mid-card titles coming out of WrestleMania, making them actually feel important. And right now, there is someone out there that hasn't really shown their face, but if they were to be, say, put in a match for the women's WWE Universal United States Championship, it would add some legitimacy to it. And that woman is Becky Lynch. Now, I hear what you're saying. We haven't seen squat from Piper Niven in terms of turning on Chelsea Green, but we also haven't seen anything from Becky Lynch saying that she's any closer to coming back than she was yesterday. But this is one of those things where like Becky could rock up 2 weeks out from WrestleMania on an episode of SmackDown, walk up to Chelsea Green and say, I want that. Can I match WrestleMania? And it would just get made immediately. So that is also a possibility. So I just feel like if we're going to get Becky on the card in any respect, all the main women's championships, they're busy. But this I keep saying Universal, this United States title, there's not much going on there right now. So let Becky have a match for it. Again, a veteran, it adds legitimacy to the title. So yeah, just do that. Next up, we have Bron Breakker versus Finn Balor for the IC title. It was really hard not to do Bron Breakker and Sheamus, but we haven't really heard from Sheamus in the last couple of weeks. He's kind of just gone missing, and Bron seems to be in this little mini feud with the Judgment Day right now. And honestly, Finn Balor and Bron Breakker, two very contrasting styles of wrestling, but together could put on one hell of a show, especially if they let Finn sort of just move away from all of his heelish tendencies, at least from an in-ring perspective, and just kind of go back to doing what Finn Balor does best, which is just be awesome in the ring. Like, he's another guy that I just look at like Shinsuke and go, I want them to have a genuine world title run before they're done in WWE. I think it's too late for Shinsuke, which sucks because he's so good. But Finn, there's still time. And maybe it's this year, but maybe it's just an IC title run, which would also be good for Finn. So I think him and Bron Breakker tear the house down. We get that classic, the IC title is the workhorse title, and it's the best catch-can match on the card of WrestleMania. And I feel like these two guys could 100% pull that off. And now we come to the blood feud match on the card. No titles, nothing. It's just two people who hate each other. It's Naomi versus Jade Cargill. And damn, Jade Cargill beat Naomi at Elimination Chamber. Just beat her. And yeah, we're setting up for this match. Clearly, Bianca Belair is now taken up by the women's or the women's world championship, heavyweight champ, whatever it's called. She's in a main event match and won't be present for this. It is strange that they gave the win to Bianca because this was coming down the pipeline. It's going to be interesting to see whether this story gets kind of caught up in the story of Bianca and Io Sky and probably Rhea Ripley as well. We'll get to that. So I don't know where we're heading with all of this, but it does feel like this is going to be a singles match between the two. The other pieces that are sort of orbiting this right now, whether they play into it or not, who knows? But yeah, this match has to happen. Naomi, Jade Cargill. Jade's been off, I think, at the PC, just sort of refining a few things, getting a little bit better. And Naomi, hell of a worker. She can pull her to a insanely good match on the card. Can't wait for the story sort of beats of this to be brought out this week on SmackDown. So we kind of get some motivation as to why Naomi did all this. It's probably just going to come down to something like jealousy, which very inspired, but I'm keen for the match regardless. All right, Women's World Championship match. We have Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. Yeah, I'm 100% sure they're going to find a way to triple threat this thing and get Rhea back into the match, whether it's something as simple as she invokes a rematch clause, which, why don't more people do that? I'm pretty sure Drew McIntyre has like 3 championship rematch clauses that he just never got to call in. So some consistency would be nice, but for just an ease of getting Rhea back into this match, like doing something as convoluted as challenging Bianca for her number 1 contendership. We've seen it before. Not the biggest fan of that. I feel like she just goes to Adam Pearce and's like, look, I lost. I get a rematch. I want to do it at WrestleMania. Adam Pearce is like, like that for a week. And then eventually he just relents. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. There is also a rumor swirling around that they're potentially thinking about turning Rhea heel again, which I'm like, okay, she was just a heel a year ago. So I don't buy that 100%. But the thing is, we're going into this, if they do a triple threat, with 3 quote unquote face wrestlers. Bianca is a face, Io's a face, Rhea is currently a face. Someone has to turn heel. Now, it may be a thing with Bianca where she gets caught up in the Naomi Jade Cargill thing and she sides with Naomi turning her heel. But I don't foresee that happening in this case because Bianca Belair is one of the most popular women on the roster and turning her heel kind of costs WWE a lot of money. So I don't see that happening. Io Sky has just kind of turned face again. Damage Control are kind of de facto faces right now. So out of all those 3, it does kind of make sense for Rhea Ripley to go into this as a heel. So whether there's any truth to that or not, I don't know. But I feel like regardless of all that, we are going to get this as a triple threat match at WrestleMania. And we come to the penultimate match of night number 2. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. They really need to like hit the go button on this feud to at least like let us know that, yep, this is happening. This is where we are heading. Obviously, Damian Priest pinned Drew McIntyre at Elimination Chamber. I'm sure we are going to get some sort of furthering of this feud this week on SmackDown in the lead up to WrestleMania. But yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm like, yeah, it'll be a match. It sure will be a match. 2 big boys that can go. Whether they can sort of go together, I don't know that we've seen much of their sort of chemistry back and forth. They may have crossed paths in the past, but nothing off the top of my head I can think of. I'm probably missing something really obvious right now. I know that Drew cashed in at Money in the Bank, but that really wasn't much of a match. Did they have like did Drew get his rematch clause after WrestleMania? I don't know that he did. Am I just completely forgetting something? It doesn't matter. I'm excited for the match. It'll be cool. It's a shame that Drew has kind of been put on the outs for the Roman Seth Punk feud. I feel like he is integral to that feud, and I would still love them to do a fatal 4-way on night 1 of WrestleMania, but it kind of feels like they're going in a different direction this year. That's fine. I just wish we would get back to the Drew character that is like the Bloodline Hunter, just going after every member of the Bloodline. He hates them. He hates them all, and he also hates Seth and Punk as well. He hates everybody. He really doesn't like anybody, and it's what I like about him. And we finally come to the main event of WrestleMania, the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. It is Cody Rhodes versus heel John Cena. Still am not used to saying that, but yeah, that's the reality we're living in right now. We're in a AHC. We were BHC before heel Cena. We're now in an AHC world after heel Cena. So if you did watch my first video doing this after the Royal Rumble, I did pitch that the winner of Night 1's main event goes into the main event of Night 2, turning it into a triple threat. The reason I said that is because A, John Cena is old. He's not ring conditioned as much. Like, he probably is more than we think. I don't think he can put on like a WrestleMania worthy main event, at least as his face character. As his heel character, he doesn't have to do that much. He just has to make life real hard for Cody. And knowing that The Rock's in his corner, it's probably going to be some sort of like no DQ match, or just like he won't be getting DQ'd for any of the dirty underhanded tactics that he does. So realistically, we're not going to get a wrestling match so much as we are pretty much a mirror of what we got last year with that Bloodline Rules match between Cody and Roman. It's wrestling for a bit, but then there's people coming out and interfering with the match and all sorts of craziness that happens around it. So John Cena doesn't have to be a wrestler. He just has to be a bad guy. And I feel like that works. And whether that was the intention all this time and be like, yeah, we don't think John can put on a 30-minute match to close out Night 2 of WrestleMania. However, if he becomes a heel and he aligns with The Rock and we turn it into an absolute spot fest like we did last year, that he can probably pull off. So there is no need now to insert someone else and make this a triple threat, take the pin, and help carry John to a really good match. John gets to do that all himself now, with some help from The Rock, I'm sure. But yeah, we don't need that third person anymore. They've kind of solved their problem, which is something I didn't really think about until like right now when I'm saying it out loud. But yeah, that works. John Cena, as a heel, has to do less wrestling than he would have as a face. So if they want to do a 35, 40-minute match, it can just all be gimmicks and fluff and fighting outside the ring and then fighting around the ring and fighting up the ramp, and not much of it actually will take place in the ring except for probably the first 5 minutes and the 1, 2, 3 count. So yeah, they've kind of written themselves out of a hole here by turning John Cena heel, because this is going to be an absolute gimmicky spot fest. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be interferences from everybody. Maybe Stone Cold will actually rock up this time and it'll kind of make sense at some point. Maybe The Undertaker will come back as well. Who knows? Anything is possible right now. Anything is on the table. So yeah, that is my prediction for the card for WrestleMania, based solely on what happened at the Elimination Chamber and on Raw the night after. So what are your thoughts about it? What does your match card for WrestleMania look like right now? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video, hit the bell, subscribe. Go and watch that short I did where YouTube completely buried it because I said the F word way too much. That would be greatly appreciated. I've got some more cool videos in the works, in the pipeline for the next couple of weeks. And then after that, I'm on a plane to America to go to WrestleMania. So the content might take a bit of a break because I'll be, well, in a plane for nearly a day and a half, and then on holiday. I will be filming stuff in America. Don't worry about that. I'm taking my laptop and I'll be uploading and recording as much as I can, but the content is going to slow down somewhat. But regardless, just like the video. That'd be swell. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, bye.